For where we're headed here, let's bring in Louisiana Republican Congressman Steve Scalise. He is the House Minority Whip and the incoming House Majority Leader. Congressman, good to talk to you. So the first order of business, almost out of the gate after achieving the majority here in the House, was that the members of the Oversight Committee came out and said we're going to start launching investigations, first and foremost, of Joe Biden into whether or not he benefited and knew about his son Hunter Biden's business dealings. Obviously, that is the job of the Oversight Committee, but do you believe that is the best thing for Republicans to be doing out of the gate when you take back control?
Well, John, it's Andrew. It's great to be with you. And if you go look, we ran on a very specific agenda in this last midterm election. We talked about getting the economy back on track, addressing inflation, but we also talked about oversight, robust oversight that has been lacking dramatically for the last 2 years. You haven't seen any oversight into the Biden administration's very questionable actions on so many fronts, this being one, and there's a lot of others. And we said we would do both. You don't just do one. We're going to pass policy. We're going to have oversight, and it can all go on at the same time, starting on January 3rd. And we've been making preparations. And in fact, if you saw that press conference with Jamie Comer and his Oversight Committee, these are questions they've been asking for months. And the Biden administration has been stonewalling them. They should have been answering those questions months ago, but there will be subpoena power starting in January, and we'll be able to get those answers. So it's not anything new. Again, we ran on this. This was one of the top planks in our agenda, both addressing inflation, the border crisis, so many other crises, energy, but also doing oversight that has been dramatically lacking for the last 2 years.
Well, as you know, when you're in the minority and you make requests to the White House for information, they're not exactly forthcoming. They may have to be more so that you'll be in the majority. Here's what James Comer said yesterday in that press conference as to what he's going to be going after in terms of the president.
This is an investigation of Joe Biden, the president of the United States, and why he lied to the American people about his knowledge and participation in his family's international business schemes. To be clear, Joe Biden is the big guy.
So just to clarify here, it wouldn't be the Oversight's purview to investigate Hunter Biden. It would be in their purview to investigate the president of the United States. Yet James Comer says he's not going to try to subpoena Joe Biden, but he will subpoena Hunter Biden.
Yeah, and what future Chairman Comer talked about is getting the facts and, wanting to bring in Hunter Biden to get those facts. A lot of this came out of the laptop scandal. And if you go back to the 2020 election, you had the mainstream media trying to suppress that story. I mean, literally, you had the New York Post, their whole Twitter account was shut down because they were trying to talk about this story. And it turned out to be true. And now those are questions that are going to be investigated. And they're questions a lot of people have been asking for a long time. And we're finally going to start getting some of those answers. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of those issues that we're going to be having questions about, whether it's this Hunter Biden issue, whether it's the origins of COVID, whether it's what happened to the debacle in Afghanistan and the potentially $85 billion of the world's best military technology that was left behind to a terrorist organization. There are a lot of questions like that we've been asking very vocally. Biden administration has refused to answer it. They're going to soon start having to answer those questions.
Congressman, there are some members of your conference, new members of your conference, who say, look, I don't want any part of these investigations. I think there's other work for the American public that we need to do. George Santos of New York is one of those. He says, quote, if parts of our party want to go into these investigations, that's their prerogative. I don't want to waste my time in Washington engaging in hyperpartisan issues. I want to come here to deliver results. What do you say to the Congressman-elect's concerns here? I mean, you seem to indicate at the top here that you believe you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah, the good news is we have a lot of different kinds of committees in Congress, and members of Congress come in with different platforms. They ran on different agendas. We didn't all run on the same thing, although we had an overarching agenda called the Commitment to America that talked about the pocketbook issues that we would focus on, social issues we'd focus on, the accountability side that committees focus on. And so, if you have an interest in energy, there's Natural Resources Committee, the Energy and Commerce Committee, which are going to be, by the way, very busy bringing out a robust energy policy so that we can show the country how we can get our economy back on track and not be dependent on foreign countries for our energy, and it'll reduce energy costs. Well, there's a lot of members that ran on the border crisis, and we've got committees like Judiciary that focus very intensely in Homeland Security that focus intensely on the border, and there are a lot of members that are going to be doing really important work there too. So good news is there's a lot of places for people to go to do the work that they really want to dig into, and there's going to be time to do all of that. We have a lot of problems in this country, and we ran on fixing these problems and passing bills through the House to address it.
We've just got a few seconds left, but I do want to get in this question because it's important. Do you believe that Kevin McCarthy will have the votes ultimately to become Speaker of the House? Andy Biggs came out today and said he can't vote for him.
Yeah, and he will, and he's been working for a while now, and he's meeting with a lot of those members. You know, these are internal discussions we've been having just this past week. We had a lot of closed-door meetings where we're talking about, you know, the future of what a Republican majority would look like. We're glad we got the majority. Now let's go and focus on the things we've got to do to fight for the hardworking families who've been left behind and who are struggling under this Biden-Pelosi agenda.
A lot for us to cover in the next 2 years. Congratulations again on your election to majority leader. If the results hold true, which looks like they're going to, and we will see you again soon. Steve Scalise, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot. A lot of work to do. Let's go.